Hello, ULF. This is Comrade Taras. Today, I am joined by
Volgin.
and we're going to be talking about the issue with totalitarianism. Now, beginning today, Volgin, would you like to tell us a little bit about totalitarianism and some of your perceptions about the issues with it?
Yes, yes. So what totalitarianism is it's this buzzword used by the media and State Department and the CIA. It was basically developed by them, and what it means is that there's this state that has total control over an entire population. Totalitarianism. Total. That's the key word to it. Now the thing is about totalitarianism is that it doesn't actually mean anything. It can be defined in a variety of ways. Orwell's a big example of this. And usually what's been happening is that the United States and the other imperialists have defined countries such as Cuba, the DPRK, China, and even Venezuela, these countries that oppose U.S. imperialism, as being totalitarian, that the state controls everything, people don't have any freedom, and that's why we should intervene in their internal issues. It just draws right back to the idea that in America, we have freedom, and all these countries that oppose us aren't free, so we need to intervene and give them freedom, when in actuality, they just want to basically colonize them.
Right. The term is entirely subjective. It's entirely based in one individual's or one perspective on all of these different things. When they say totalitarian, it's coming from their own worldview, coming from their own understanding of other governments, of systems of democracy, of infrastructure, of healthcare. And when you look at these things in the West, in the imperialist West, versus in these other countries, like Volgin mentioned, Cuba, the DPRK, China, Venezuela, and others, you see that they have very well built up infrastructures, they have very well built up healthcare systems, they have programs for the houseless and the destitute, and yet they still get called totalitarian. And really, it comes down to their opposition to the ideology and to the core center beliefs of the West. It comes down to their willingness to oppose these things and to call them out as being harmful, as being predatory, as being deceptive. This term, totalitarianism, has no real grounding in material basis, which is ultimately what I feel, and what I'm sure that many of you could relate to, is what disqualifies it as a term that can be used in any genuine arena of talking about these issues in Marxist thought, or really in political thought in general. Because this term that has nothing to do with the real world, nothing to do with an actual objective observation of reality, only serves to muddy the waters for people who are attempting to understand their own country and their own actions, or the actions of other countries and their actions. Instead, it basically makes it an impossibility for these things to make these issues clear to understand for people. And furthermore, when you look at how it's so widely cast, someone who is in the global south, someone who empathizes with decolonialist movements, someone who empathizes with the anti-imperialist struggle, could just as easily and just as legitimately say that the United States or the United Kingdom or any of these other countries are in themselves totalitarian as well. They embody the same things that they accuse these other countries of not having, such as no democratic processes, no worker control, no input in political systems, etc., etc. It shows that no matter where you go, the term is individually defined and comes from an individual, subjective, emotional response, rather than one that is based in the world around you. With the depth of human experience and the variation that comes with all of our lives and what comes in and goes out every single day, it's impossible to say that a government, particularly a state as the conduit for this, could be wholly totalitarian, could be wholly in control of every single machination and process of someone's life, their politics, their economics, their culture. It simply isn't possible. Now, if you were to make maybe perhaps the argument that you look at the dictatorship of the proletariat, you could say, well, it certainly isn't totalitarian, but it is authoritarian in the sense that they are deciding their own fate. Well, now that's another matter entirely. But that's what it comes down to, is that the state cannot have that much control. The state cannot have that much power. If it does, it's a facade. If it does, it's through fear, it's through intimidation, it's through terror. And that is where totalitarianism is rooted in. That is the issue with it, is that It is rooted in largely Western dogmatic thought that promotes the demonization of these worker states around the world, of these actually existing socialist states, and of these anti-imperialist countries. Well, I think that about wraps it up for today. Thank you very much for listening, ULF. This has been Comrade Taras.
And Volgin.
Thank you very much, and please like, comment, and subscribe.